The night was silent, the stars shining above a quiet countryside. John, a man who lived alone in a small wooden house, sat near his old lamp reading a book. He liked nights like this, peaceful and calm, with only the sound of wind moving through the trees. But tonight something felt different, a strange energy in the air. He closed the book and listened. There was a sound outside, faint at first, like a soft cry carried by the wind. John frowned and stood up. The cry came again, higher this time, almost like the sound of a baby. But who would leave a baby outside in the middle of the night? He took his lantern and stepped onto the porch. The air was cold and sharp. The cry was clearer now, and his heart began to beat faster. He walked forward, careful, scanning the dark yard. At first, he saw nothing but shadows. Then his eyes caught a shape near the fence. Someone was there, moving slowly, weakly. John walked closer. He saw her and he froze. It was not a human woman. Her skin was pale silver, glowing faintly under the moonlight. Her eyes were large and shining like liquid gold. She was thin, trembling, carrying something close to her chest. The sound came again, the cry of a baby. John's breath caught. The woman held a small creature in her arms. The baby looked almost human, but with small ridges on its forehead and tiny glowing marks across its cheeks. The mother staggered forward, her body weak, her steps heavy. She reached John's porch. Her arms shaking, with great effort she bent down and placed the baby at his feet. The little one whimpered, its glow flickering softly. John stared. Unable to believe his eyes, the mother looked at him. Her golden eyes filled with sorrow and desperation. She tried to speak, but her words were strange sounds. Broken and foreign still, he felt he understood. She wanted him to take the child. John knelt down, torn between fear and compassion. He had never seen anything like this. Every warning in his mind told him to run, to call someone. But the small cries of the baby cut through all those thoughts. He picked the child up, and to his surprise it stopped crying. The baby looked at him with glowing eyes, innocent and trusting. It was as if the little one already knew him. The alien mother smiled weakly. Her body trembling more, her legs gave out, and she collapsed onto the porch. John panicked, not knowing what to do. The lantern light fell on her face, showing pain and hunger. Her lips moved, whispering sounds he could not understand. But her eyes were clear, begging him, pleading for mercy. John carried the baby inside and laid it gently on a blanket. He rushed back to the porch. The mother was still breathing, but very weak. Her hands reached toward the door as if begging not to be left outside. John swallowed hard, fighting fear. He could not abandon her, not after she had trusted him with her child. He bent down and carefully lifted her into his arms. She was lighter than he expected, her body fragile, her skin cool like metal. Inside the house, the fire still burned in the old stove. He placed her on the couch and wrapped a blanket over her. The baby whimpered again, and John picked it up, rocking gently. He looked at them both, his heart heavy with questions. Who were they? Where did they come from? Why had she chosen his door? The baby blinked at him with glowing eyes. John felt something he had not felt in years: responsibility. He was alone for so long, living without purpose. But now, in one strange night, he held a life in his hands, and another life was depending on him to survive. He sat beside the alien mother, listening to her slow breathing. Her chest rose and fell with effort. She was starving, exhausted, broken. But still, she had carried her baby here, searching for hope. John's mind raced with fear of what would happen if others discovered them. Authorities would never show mercy. They would take the child away, study it, lock it in a cage. And the mother, she would not survive. John clenched his jaw. He looked again at the baby, then at the mother. He made a silent promise. No matter what happened, he would not let anyone hurt them. The wind howled outside, the night deepened. And somewhere far away, strange lights moved slowly across the sky. John felt a chill run through him. He had no idea what storm was coming, but he knew one thing. His life would never be the same again. The baby cried again, the sound sharp in the small house. John held the tiny creature close, rocking it gently, his hands shaking. The glowing marks on its skin flickered like fireflies, filling the room with soft light. He whispered without thinking, "Shh, it's all right. You're safe here." The child calmed a little, curling its small fingers around his shirt. John felt a strange warmth in his chest, something both heavy and comforting. Behind him, the alien mother groaned weakly. Her golden eyes opened halfway, staring at him. She tried to sit up, but her body was too weak. John rushed to her side. Placing a pillow behind her head, she looked at him, her lips moving in strange words he could not understand. Still, her meaning was clear. She was asking about her baby. John lifted the child and placed it carefully in her arms. The mother's eyes softened, but her hands trembled too much to hold on. The baby began to cry again, sensing her weakness. With tears in her shining eyes, the mother gave the child back to John. It was as if she was saying, "You must care for him now." John sat back, his mind a storm. What should he do? He could call someone. Maybe the authorities, maybe the hospital. But he knew deep down what that would mean. The mother and child would be taken, locked away, studied, maybe even destroyed. He shivered at the thought. No, he could not do that. The baby whimpered again, and John panicked. What do babies eat? He had no children, no experience. Only what he remembered from long ago when his sister had a baby. He ran to the kitchen, pulling out a bottle of milk from his fridge. He poured some into a small cup, heating it carefully. The baby sniffed, then opened its mouth, drinking eagerly. When John guided the cup, some spilled. Glowing faintly as it touched the floor, John stared, but the baby seemed happy. It made small sounds, almost like laughter. The mother watched, her lips curving into a weak smile. John felt relief, but fear still gripped him. What if someone saw the glow? What if the strange lights he saw in the sky were searching for them? He stepped to the window. Pulling the curtain aside, the night was darker now. But he thought he saw faint movements beyond the trees, shadows that didn't belong to the wind. He closed the curtain quickly, his heart pounding. This was no ordinary night, and he was no longer alone. He turned back to the couch, where the alien mother lay shivering. She looked so fragile, almost ready to fade away. John grabbed a loaf of bread and a bowl of soup from the stove. He placed it near her, but she turned her head, unable to eat. Her hand pointed at the baby, her meaning clear again. She cared only for the child, not herself. John sat with them both, staring into the fire. Why had she chosen his door? Why him? He was no hero, just a man living a quiet life, hiding from the world, yet here he was, holding an alien baby and guarding its mother. The decision weighed on him like stone. He could hand them over and return to his old life. Or he could protect them, stepping into a world of danger. The baby stirred in his arms, glowing softly. John looked into its eyes, and something changed inside him. He realized there was no real choice. He could not betray them. Not after the trust the mother had shown. Not after seeing how small, how helpless, how innocent this child was. He stood up, pacing the room. He whispered to himself, if they're hunting you, they'll come here, won't they? I need to be ready. His hands shook as he locked the doors, closed the curtains, and checked the shotgun hanging on the wall. He hated violence, but tonight felt different. Tonight, danger was already at his doorstep. The alien mother made a sound, soft and broken. John turned and saw her pointing to the window again. Her golden eyes were wide with fear. He followed her gaze and froze. Through the gap in the curtain, faint lights moved between the trees. Not fireflies, not lanterns, but cold, steady beams of searchlights sweeping the land. John's stomach twisted. They were not alone. Someone or something was looking for her. The baby whimpered, glowing brighter, as if sensing the danger too. John pressed the child close to his chest, whispering again, "Quiet now, I've got you. I won't let them take you." The mother's hand fell from the couch, her body growing weaker. Her lips moved once more, and though John could not understand the words, he knew what she meant. She was trusting him fully, surrendering her child to his care. The fire crackled in the silence, and outside the searchlights grew closer. John felt his heart thunder in his chest. This was the moment the decision was made. He would protect them no matter what it cost. The baby's glow filled the dark room, soft and gentle like a lantern made of life itself. John held the child close, rocking slowly, his ears straining for any sound outside. The searchlights had passed for now, fading back into the woods. But he knew they would return, he whispered. "It's all right, little one, you're safe with me," the baby cooed softly, gripping his finger with surprising strength. That tiny hand made John's heart ache in a way he had not felt for years. The mother lay weak on the couch, her golden eyes watching. She tried to speak, but the words came out broken and soft. John knelt beside her, placing the baby near her so she could see. Her hand trembled as she touched the child's cheek, glowing marks reflecting in her eyes. Then she looked at John, her gaze long and steady in that silent moment. He understood she was saying, "Protect him, protect us." John nodded slowly, his jaw tight. He had already decided, but now it felt deeper. Heavier, not just a choice, but a bond, he whispered. "I'll take care of him. I'll take care of both of you." The mother closed her eyes, relief softening her face. She trusted him, a stranger, more than her own strength. The baby began to fuss again, a cry building in its throat. John panicked. Remembering how hungry it had been before, he hurried to the kitchen, holding the child in one arm, searching with the other. He found the warmed milk again and carefully fed the baby. The little one drank eagerly, glowing brighter with each sip. John laughed quietly, shaking his head. "You're a hungry little thing, aren't you?" When the cup was empty, the baby burped, and for the first time that night giggled. The sound was strange yet sweet, like music from another world. The mother watched, a faint smile tugging at her lips. She reached a hand toward John, as if to thank him, but she was too weak. Her arm falling back, John covered her with another blanket. Checking her breathing, she was fading, and he knew she needed more than warmth, but what could he give her? He had no alien medicine, no knowledge of her body. Still, he refused to give up. Hours passed slowly, the fire crackling. The baby sleeping against John's chest. Outside, the night deepened, filled with whispers of wind and distant humming. John stared into the flames, his mind racing. His life had been empty for so long, nights filled with silence and loneliness. But now, in the span of a few hours, he was holding a child not of this world, and a dying mother was depending on him. He felt both fear and purpose, and the mixture burned inside him. The baby stirred, its glowing marks pulsing gently like a heartbeat. John thought about the searchlights in the woods. Who were they? Were they soldiers from Earth hunting something they feared? Or were they from her world, chasing her down to end her life? He looked at the child, so innocent, so fragile. It didn't matter who was chasing them. He could not let them win. He walked to the window. Peeking through the curtain, the trees swayed in the dark, quiet now. But John knew silence could be dangerous. It was only a matter of time before they returned. He turned back, his eyes falling on the shotgun above the mantel. He hated the thought of using it, but he would if it came to that, not for himself, but for the baby, for the mother. The mother opened her eyes again, faint light shining in them. She pointed weakly at the baby, then at John. Her lips moved slowly, forming a word he almost understood. It sounded like protector. John froze, his chest tightening. Protector? Was that what she called him? The word sank deep into him. Changing something inside, he sat beside her. The baby nestled in his arms for the first time in years. John spoke aloud to someone else about his life. He told her about his quiet days, his lost family, his empty house. She could not understand the words, but she listened with her eyes. And somehow that was enough. The room no longer felt empty. It felt alive. The baby yawned, glowing softly, then drifted to sleep. John smiled, brushing its tiny forehead. He whispered, "Don't worry, I'll keep you safe. I promise." The mother closed her eyes again, a tear sliding down her silver cheek. For a moment, peace settled over the room. A fragile peace, but real. Then faintly, John heard it again, the distant humming. Deeper this time, closer. His blood ran cold. The hunters were not gone, they were circling back. Searching harder, and John knew the bond had begun, but so had the war. The night pressed heavy against the little wooden house. John sat awake, the baby asleep on his chest. The alien mother weak on the couch. The crackle of fire was the only sound. But beyond the walls, the forest whispered with danger. He could feel it in his bones. A storm was coming. The humming returned, louder than before, steady and deep. It rolled through the ground like distant thunder. John froze, his ears straining. He crept to the window and lifted the corner of the curtain. There they were, faint beams of light slicing between the trees. Shadows moved behind them, tall figures carrying strange weapons that glowed in the dark. The hunters had returned, and this time they were closer. John's heart pounded, his hands shaking as he lowered the curtain. He looked at the baby, still sleeping, glowing softly in the dim room. If they saw that light, they would know. They would come straight to his door, he whispered. "No, I won't let them take you." The alien mother stirred weakly, her golden eyes opening halfway. She looked at John, then at the window. Her lips moved, forming broken sounds. She pointed to the baby, then drew a line in the air with her finger, a symbol, sharp and strange like a star broken in two. Her eyes filled with fear, and John understood. The hunters were not here by chance. They were tracking that mark. The mark on her baby's skin. John's chest tightened. He lifted the baby, cradling it against his chest, trying to cover its glowing marks. But the glow only pulsed brighter. As if answering the sound outside, the mother shook her head. Tears in her eyes, she whispered again. The same word she had tried before, protector. John clenched his jaw. Nodding he would be that even if it cost him his life. He moved quickly through the house, blowing out the lantern, letting only the fire's glow remain. He checked the shotgun by the door, loading shells with trembling hands. His stomach turned with fear. He had not fired that gun in years. But tonight he might have no choice outside. The humming grew louder, mixed now with the crack of branches. The figures were spreading through the woods. Searching, John peeked again and saw 3 of them. Tall and armored, their helmets glowing faintly. They carried long rods that hummed with blue energy. Not human soldiers, not police, something else. Something far worse. The baby stirred in his arms. Sensing the danger, it whimpered softly. Its glow brightening again. John rocked it, whispering, "Shh, stay quiet, I've got you." But the glow spread across the room like soft fire. John cursed under his breath, pulling a blanket over the child. The mother reached out with shaking hands. Her eyes locked on John's, desperate and pleading. She knew what he was about to face. John paced the room, his mind racing. He could run, but where would he go? And the woods were full of them. The baby would give them away. No, running was death, hiding was the only chance. He moved to the basement door, opening it carefully. The air smelled damp and cold. It was dark down there, but safer than the open room. He carried the baby down, then returned for the mother. She was light, her body trembling as he lifted her. Step by step he lowered her into the basement, laying her gently on an old mattress. The baby nestled against her side, and for a moment the glow dimmed. John exhaled, relief washing through him. Maybe, just maybe, the hunters would pass. He climbed back up, closing the basement door. He grabbed the shotgun and stood by the window. His breath came fast, his palms slick with sweat through the crack. He saw the figures moving closer. One of them stopped, lifting a device that pulsed with red light. It swept the ground, searching. John's blood ran cold. They were tracking the glow, hunting with machines. It was only a matter of time before they found the house. The forest lit up as the searchlights turned, beams sweeping across the field. They were heading straight for him. John pressed his back to the wall, clutching the shotgun. His mind screamed for him to run, to hide, but his heart was steady. If they broke through the door, he would fight, not for himself, but for the baby, for the mother, for the bond he had already promised. The steps outside grew heavier, the humming sharper. A shadow fell across the porch, tall and menacing. The door rattled under the force of a heavy hand. John raised the gun, his body trembling, his breath caught in his throat. The hunters were here, and the night of silence had ended. The door shook again, harder this time. John's heart raced, his finger tight on the trigger of the shotgun. The baby whimpered softly in the basement, and the sound almost broke him. He whispered to himself, "Stay quiet, stay safe. I'll hold them back." The hunters outside made strange noises, low clicks mixed with humming. John peeked through the crack in the curtain and saw glowing helmets turning toward the house. One of them raised a weapon, and blue sparks lit up the dark. The door burst open with a flash. Splinters flying across the room. John fired, the blast echoing through the night. The nearest figure stumbled back, its armor scorched, but the others rushed forward, their weapons glowing brighter. John ducked behind the table, his ears ringing. The house shook as another blast struck the wall, burning holes through the wood. Smoke filled the air, choking and bitter. He fired again, forcing them back, but he knew he could not hold them forever. There were too many, and their weapons were far stronger. The baby cried louder in the basement, glowing bright. The sound pierced through the chaos, drawing the hunters' attention. One of them turned its device toward the floor, the red light pulsing faster. They had found the source. John's blood ran cold. He leapt forward, swinging the shotgun like a club. Striking the device from the hunter's hands, the alien staggered, hissing in a voice John could not understand. But the message was clear. Anger. Another hunter aimed at him. Blue energy charging at the tip of the weapon. John dove, the blast tearing a hole through the wall behind him. The night air rushed in, cold and sharp. He scrambled to his feet, chest burning. He had no time, no plan, only instinct. He had to get them out. He raced to the basement, throwing the door open. The baby glowed like a lantern, the mother weak but trying to rise. John scooped them both up, holding them tight. The mother whispered something soft. Her voice trembling, John didn't understand. But her eyes told him, "Run!" He dashed toward the back door. Kicking it open, the night swallowed him. The forest looming ahead, the baby cried louder. Its glow lighting the path, John cursed under his breath. Covering it with the blanket. Behind him, the hunters roared. Their lights flashing, weapons charging, beams of blue fire cut through the trees. Striking the ground near his feet, he ran faster. Clutching the mother and child, his lungs screaming for air, branches whipped his face. Roots pulled at his boots, but he did not stop. Every sound behind him was death closing in. The baby squirmed, the mother weak in his arms. Still, he pressed forward, heart hammering. He whispered again and again. "Hold on, just hold on." The forest opened into a narrow ravine. Dark and deep, John stumbled down the slope. Sliding on wet leaves, a blast struck a tree above him. Showering sparks and splinters, the hunters were close, their voices echoing through the night. John tripped, falling hard, but he did not let go of them. He rolled, clutching the baby, shielding the mother with his body. Pain shot through his arm, but he pushed to his feet. He spotted a small cave hidden by fallen rocks. Without thinking, he darted inside, pressing them against the cold stone. He pulled the blanket tight over the baby. Whispering for silence, the glow dimmed, the child calming in his arms. John held his breath, listening. The humming drew closer, the ground shaking under their heavy steps. Shadows passed by the cave mouth, beams of light cutting across the trees. The hunters scanned the ground, searching, sniffing the air with strange devices. One of them stopped near the cave. John's heart pounded so loud he thought it would give them away. The baby stirred, a small whimper escaping. John pressed his hand gently over its mouth, whispering, "Please, please, not now." The hunter tilted its head. Listening then, after a long pause, it turned away. Following the others deeper into the forest, John exhaled slowly, every muscle trembling. For now they were safe, but only for now. The baby nestled closer to his chest, glowing faintly in the dark. The mother touched his arm with weak fingers, her eyes filled with gratitude and sorrow. John looked at them both, sweat dripping down his face, lungs still burning. He whispered, "I won't stop. I'll protect you no matter what outside." The hunters' lights faded, but their humming still filled the night. They were not gone, only spreading wider, searching harder. John knew the chase was not over. It had only just begun. The cave was cold and damp, shadows stretching across the walls. John sat with his back against the stone, the baby asleep in his arms. The alien mother lay beside them, her breath shallow, her skin pale silver fading to gray. She looked fragile, like a flame ready to die. John studied her face, fear clawing at his chest. He could see she was slipping away. Her golden eyes opened slowly, focusing on him, then on the child. She reached out with trembling hands. Brushing the baby's cheek, the baby stirred, glowing faintly, its tiny hand gripping her finger. The mother's lips moved, whispering broken words John could not understand. But her eyes said everything. She was begging him to take care of her child. John's throat tightened. He shook his head, whispering, "Don't do this, don't give up, you can't leave him. He needs you." The mother smiled weakly, a sad, tired smile. Her hand slipped from the baby's cheek to John's arm. Her golden eyes locked on his. "Steady even in weakness," she whispered again. The same word she had used before. "Protector." The word cut into John's heart. He had always lived alone, drifting through his days without purpose. But now, this fragile life in his arms and the dying mother before him had chosen him not by accident, not by chance. He was the protector. Whether he wanted it or not, the mother coughed, her body trembling. John panicked, searching his bag for anything useful. He had a flask of water, some bread, nothing that could heal her alien body. He held the flask to her lips. She sipped weakly but soon turned her head. Her strength was fading faster. Tears filled John's eyes. Frustration burning inside him, he whispered harshly, "No, you can't leave him like this, he's just a baby." But deep down he knew the truth. Her journey had already reached its end. The baby whimpered, sensing the fear glowing brighter in the dark cave. John rocked it gently, whispering comfort. The glow spread across the stone walls, making the cave shine like a sacred place. The mother watched, a single tear sliding down her silver cheek. She reached again, touching John's chest. Then she touched the baby, her hand trembling. Her meaning was clear. She was passing the child to him. Forever. John swallowed hard, his heart breaking. He whispered, "I'll keep him safe, I swear. I'll protect him with my life." The mother's breathing grew slower, weaker. Her eyes never left John's face. For the first time that night, she looked at peace. She had found someone who would care for her child. Someone she could trust, but outside, danger still crept closer. The humming of the hunters filled the forest, faint but steady. Their lights danced in the distance. Drawing nearer, John clenched his jaw, pulling the baby closer to his chest. He whispered fiercely, "They won't take you." "Not while I breathe." The mother tried to speak again, her voice barely more than air. Her golden eyes glowed faintly, and John leaned close to hear. Her words were broken, but one sound was clear. She whispered the baby's name. It was soft, musical, unlike any human word. John repeated it clumsily, and the baby's glow pulsed in response. The mother smiled one last time, her hand falling gently to her side. Her eyes closed, her chest rising once more. Then stilling, John sat frozen, grief slamming into him like a hammer. The cave was silent except for the soft breaths of the baby in his arms. He lowered his head, whispering, "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." A tear slipped down his cheek. Falling onto the baby's glowing skin, the child stirred but did not cry. Instead, it nestled closer, trusting him completely. John wiped his face with the back of his hand, his sorrow hardening into resolve. He looked at the mother's still form, whispering, "I promise you. I'll raise him, I'll keep him safe. He's my family now." The word family felt strange in his mouth. Heavy yet right. For years he had no one. But now he had someone to protect, someone to fight for. Outside, the forest trembled with the march of hunters. Their search was growing more desperate. Their voices sharper. John pressed the baby close, covering its glow with the blanket. His grief turned to fire. He had lost the mother. But he would not lose the child, not tonight, not ever. He stood, gripping the shotgun, his heart steady now. The hunters drew nearer, their lights flashing between the trees. The baby's name echoed in his mind, the promise heavy in his chest. The cave felt smaller, the walls closing in. There was no more time to mourn. There was only time to protect. John whispered one last time to the silent mother, "Rest now, I'll take care of him. I'll take care of both of you." Then he turned toward the cave mouth. The glow of the hunter's light spread across the night. John's eyes burned with determination. The protector was ready. The cave shook with distant blasts. John tightened his grip on the shotgun. The baby pressed against his chest under the blanket. The glow of the hunter's lights moved closer, painting the trees outside with cold beams. The humming grew louder, a sound that rattled his bones. He glanced back at the alien mother's still form. Her silver skin cold, a pang of grief struck him, but he pushed it down. There was no time for sorrow, only for survival. He whispered to her quietly, "I won't fail. I'll keep him safe." The baby stirred as if sensing the danger. John pressed a hand gently over the blanket, whispering, "Hush now, little one, stay strong." The glow dimmed slightly, but it could not be hidden forever already. Red scanning lights swept across the cave mouth. The hunters were nearly here. John's mind raced. He could stay and fight in this stone trap, but that meant death, or he could move now, striking first. Forcing them into the forest, his jaw tightened. A protector did not wait to be cornered. A protector stood and fought. He slung the blanket tighter around the baby and shifted it onto his back with a rope. The child pressed against him, small and warm. His free hand clutched the shotgun. His heart pounded, but his eyes were steady. He stepped from the shadows into the night. The forest exploded with light. 3 hunters turned, their helmets glowing, weapons aimed. John fired first, the blast striking one square in the chest. It stumbled back with a hiss, sparks flying from its armor. The others roared in their strange language, beams of blue fire cutting across the trees. John dove behind a fallen log, the baby crying against his back. He whispered, "Hold on, I've got you, I've got you." A blast tore through the log. Burning the air with heat, he rolled aside, firing again. The shot ripped into another hunter's leg, sending it crashing to the ground, but there were more behind them. Shadows moving through the trees. Too many. John's lungs burned. His muscles screamed. Still he pushed forward, weaving through the forest. Firing when he could, every step was a fight. Every breath a promise, the hunters shouted, their searchlights locking on him. The baby cried louder, glowing through the blanket. The hunters saw the light and their voices grew sharper. Desperate, John stumbled into a clearing. His boots sinking in mud, the moon hung above. Pale and distant, he turned, raising the shotgun. Ready to make his last stand, the hunters surrounded him, their weapons humming with deadly light. There was no escape now. The baby wailed, its glow bursting brighter than ever. The light spread across the clearing like a sunrise. The hunters froze, their helmets reflecting the glow. The baby's marks pulsed, beating like a second heart. And for a moment the forest was silent. John gasped, shielding his eyes. The baby's glow grew so strong that the hunters staggered. Dropping their weapons, the humming of their machines cracked and sputtered, failing under the strange light. The baby reached tiny hands toward the sky, glowing brighter still, and above them the clouds split with a deep rumble. A beam of pure white light shot down from the heavens. The hunters hissed, stumbling back in fear. They spoke in their strange tongue, panicked, retreating into the trees. One dropped to its knees, shielding its face. The baby's glow answered the beam as if calling to it. John stared in awe, his heart pounding. Whatever this child was, it was more powerful than he could imagine. The light faded slowly, the baby's glow dimming again. The child nestled against John's back, calm now, almost smiling. The hunters were gone, the forest silent. Only smoke and broken trees marked the battle. John fell to his knees, exhausted, clutching the shotgun. His chest heaved with every breath, sweat dripping down his face. He looked at the baby, then back at the sky where the beam had shone. He whispered, "You're not just a child, are you? You're something greater." The baby cooed softly. Glowing faintly again, John closed his eyes, whispering, "Then I'll protect you no matter what, even from the stars themselves." He looked once more at the cave where the mother lay. Grief returned, but this time it burned as resolve. He would honor her sacrifice. He would keep his promise. The forest was quiet again, but John knew peace would not last. The hunters would return, stronger, angrier. The baby was not just precious to him, it was precious to them. And now he was the shield, the guardian, the protector. He stood, tightening the rope around the baby. His legs were weak, but his spirit was unbroken. He whispered, "We keep moving, little one, we survive. And one day we fight back." The night stretched before him, dark and endless, but he walked into it without fear. For he was no longer alone, he was the protector, and this was only the beginning.